I think for me, I see the ministry here and teaching our children to give as a neat opportunity for them to see people in our community being brought into the churches they already have and reached with the gospel and growing, and then missions too, giving through the church to missions and them getting to know different missionaries and where they are in the world and what they're doing, and seeing the impact our church has, not just in our area but also in other parts of the world. I think that's exciting for them as they grow older and understand it more and more, to see that the giving they do here impacts people's lives.
I think for me, I learned in college. I know I gave when I earned money in high school. I definitely got convicted about tithing as a cornerstone of my budget, and giving, even giving when I didn't have what I needed. I remember in those early years being in a place where I gave to a missionary, and I didn't have. This is when I was in college. I didn't have money to get home. It was the end of the semester, and the college was collecting a Christmas present for missionaries, and I felt the Lord was telling me, give them that last $100 you have. I had like $104 in my bank account. I gave them $100. I had kept the $4 in the bank to keep the account open, and I was waiting on the Lord for gas money because we carpooled home. And I needed about $80 to get home, and God provided our college. Every night we'd be checked to see if we were in bed for curfew. When the floor leader came in, he handed me an envelope of cash, and I didn't tell anyone what I had done. I didn't tell anyone. And I had $109 in it, and he said, someone told me to give this to you. And I, from that day on, I knew that giving, not only just the tithe, but also the giving when God says give more, I wanted that to be part of my life. I wanted to be part of that. Is it always that way? No. I mean, when you have a job, you have income and some predictability. It's not always, and now that I have a wife and kids, I'm not as reckless, I guess, but God does provide. God is faithful, and I've seen it more than once. I'm just glad the way God set it up. I could be going through my work week and I'll be bringing home stress from work or something, but when you go on Saturday and you write your check for the offering, you're kind of getting in tune for church in a sense. I mean, you're starting, okay, oh yeah, I can leave this stuff behind now. We're starting the worship process in a sense by that, just by the offering and the tithes.
I was blessed to grow up in a Christian home, so my earliest memories of understanding the concept of money are tied into my parents teaching us about saving and about giving. And so they'd be like, here's $1 for, sometimes we had gotten an allowance, here's $1, now you have to give 10 cents to God. It wasn't even almost optional. They kind of just, when we were little, it was almost a requirement that we learn to give to God from what we had. And I think that was a real blessing now looking back that they did that for us, because it made you learn to just live off of what was left. It was just from your earliest memories of money, God got it first, and then this is what was left for me. Transitions were times that you looked at it again and thought, do I really want to do this or whatever, like your first real job. You get your paycheck and then now you have to choose to give yourself. You're not a little kid with your parents helping you separate it out. Once in a while, I remember writing my check for church or getting the cash out to give and thinking, like, that's a lot of money out of my paycheck. But you just do it, and it becomes a great habit. And then getting married was a blessing that we went into marriage on the same page on that, so that it wasn't something we ever had to consider. And we've always made a point that that's the first thing that we do is we give our money to the Lord. And it's just been encouraging the longer I live to look back and see God's never failed us. He's never let us down, and He's always provided and met all of our needs.
And it's not always a monetary thing that you get out of giving. It's just the peace that God gives you, that you're doing what you should do, and not that it's a requirement that you must do, but it's just peace that you're being involved in the work of God, and that He does provide and meet your needs, and sometimes above above what we ask or think. And there's always so many things. And there's probably things that God has given me, and I don't even recognize it for like a period of time. And then you feel like, whoa, God, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that happened.